Hey everybody, welcome back to WB Decoded. We actually took a little hiatus there for a little bit due to work and project uh, scheduling conflicts. Uh,
Yeah,
I don't even know what episode this is. Four, maybe three, four,
four. I
four.
think.
Okay, we'll go four. Um, Again, I'm Nathan Driver, along with my co-host.
Hey, I'm Brian Rudder.
And we're going to talk about analytics. This is actually one of my
Mhm.
favorite things because being an SEO person and loving code, I don't know if a half hour is going to be able to do it for me, but I'll try to stick to the just to the creme, just the just
If we go over, well, that's fine.
I'll just do the top. I'll just do the top.
All right.
Um, okay, introductions. Nathan Driver. I'm a digital media strategist here in Dayton, Ohio, for the Allman Group, which is an advertising agency, and been using WordPress, God, since 07, 08.
Yeah. Wow. Brian Rudder with a web developer here in Dayton as well. Work at a company downtown called RealArt. Do their sysadmin work for them. Recently was moved from web development, so I keep doing WordPress development on the side on my own. Keep into it. Keep it going.
Awesome. And you do some phenomenal work, I have to say, way beyond my skill level.
Yes, I am. I am a little more of a developer.
I know I don't even like to use the word for myself, but I can make enough to make it work and make it look good. So
Yeah.
I can't do that.
Oh, you do fine.
All right. Those of you watching later or whenever, we are also the co-organizers for the Dayton WordPress meetup and the Dayton WordCamp, and we do have some exciting news that we're not going to tell you just yet.
Nope.
So it's going to be probably next month that we'll release it, maybe. I started tweeting from at Dayton WP, so watch that Twitter. It's coming. Big news. That's all I'm saying. I'm excited.
Very big news. Exciting news.
All right, so let's talk analytics. The analytics always gets tossed into SEO, and I'm the marketing guy. I love marketing. I love advertising. Brian, as a developer, what's your go-to plugins, or like when you think SEO with WordPress, like what do you do?
Yoast. That's it. I mean,
That's
it's.
it. That's it. Nothing else.
I mean, even if I develop my own theme,
Yeah.
I have Yoast as a part of it. I don't even try to do it myself. I use it nonstop.
Okay, and that there's nothing wrong with that, nothing at all. I think a lot of people even forget that step. So, just having Yoast, what is it? WordPress SEO by Yoast is the plugin, and it's great. The biggest thing that people, and I actually just finished my presentation for Ann Arbor coming up next weekend, and I actually talk about some plugins for SEO because the title of my presentation is SEO your WordPress site, I think it was. And so I talk about some different plugins, and WordPress SEO by Yoast is automatically the number one go-to for anyone that's in the developing or using WordPress to begin with.
So has it taken over all in one?
I haven't looked at the stats recently, and I probably should throw that in there, but I actually started with all-in-one back in '08. But with the recent bug that all-in-one SEO had, I really think that Yoast is going to really take over. And he knows his stuff, and he's actually come out with some additional plugins that correlate with it with that plugin. So there's some really cool things that he does. And if you ever have a problem, either him or himself will answer it on Twitter or on the WordPress.org, support forums. I mean, it's really, you don't get that I've seen in the
That's true.
all-in-one.
He is really responsive on stuff. Very responsive.
Yeah, I remember it might have been maybe a year ago. Real quick story. I was having issues with a site that I did not develop. That I just kind of came in and they wanted to SEO it up. so they could get to the first page of results. I said, I'll do what I can. I can't promise anything. So I got the plugin. And the cool thing about the Yoast one is that you can actually import settings from other plugins such as All-in-One SEO.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of sneaky, but I think it's clever from a marketing standpoint. But so I'm messing with it. I'm doing the configurations, but for some reason I couldn't make things work. It was pulling up a tags page instead of the categories, and it was frustrating me to no end. As you might know, from a developing point, you get to that roadblock, and you're just like pulling your hair out, and you just I can't do it anymore. So you take a step away. Sometimes you just try to fight through it. So with this one, I'm kind of going through it, and finally I'm like, I'm done. I tweeted it out. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? I think within 5 minutes, Yoast actually replied to it. He goes, check this configuration. We don't call on this, but we call on this other thing. Lo and behold, it was something stupid. I spent an hour working on it, and boom, done, solved. All thanks because he was so responsive, and it was middle of the night.
Oh, that's awesome.
Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen every single time, but I'm just saying it's nice to see plugin developers, authors, creators. If it's not just him, or even if it's his team, responds, and it doesn't have to be immediate. I mean, we're not looking for immediate responses. We just want something.
Yeah.
That timeline is usually like 4 to 12 hours at least.
Yeah. I, with those kind of support things, I'm even good with 24 to 48 hour.
Right. Yeah.
Even longer than that, I just feel like the developer doesn't care.
Oh, I know. I've started kind of going through some plugins, kind of off topic, but with that, is going through some plugins for some specialty issues for some clients, and I'm looking. One of the things I look at is how many downloads. Do they have screenshots? Do they have a live demo maybe? And then the last thing I look at is a support forum. And if I don't see like any resolved in that first page, I won't use it. I mean, I think that in itself could be a whole topic. The basic understanding of you putting it out there for the WordPress community. So I think you should help them out a little bit if they're having problems, because it's going to happen.
Right. So, talking about Yoast, did we actually explain what Yoast does for us?
No, it's just a go-to SEO plugin.
So, Yoast, you probably got a better example of what Yoast does, but I mean, essentially, it just allows you to connect it with Google Analytics and some others in there. I use Google Analytics solely, so that's the only one that I really know that it supports. But it basically just allows you to plug in. It does a sitemap for you, which I know you have a different option for.
I do.
And there's a couple other really nice features it does. The main one though is it allows you to put in your Google Analytics code.
Right.
It's on the site for you, so you don't have to worry about any kind of custom fields or customization of the theme. Well,
and beyond that, you can actually pull in say, if you're a business or even if you're a person, if you have a Facebook page, you can pull that in so that it will add code. It'll add the OG title, meta description for that.
Right, the OG Open Graph.
The Open Graph, for not only for your Facebook, but for your Twitter and for your Google+. So I mean, those little things, people are like, oh, I don't even worry about that. I just do the sitemap and do this. And I'm like, but that's a big part of it because you can't talk analytics, you can't talk SEO without some type of social interaction.
Right.
And so I think that one little step, it takes literally 5 minutes if you already have these pages created, these profiles, and it's just plugging them in. And what that does is pretty much, so if you share something on Twitter, share something on Facebook, or when it gets crawled by the web crawlers, they see that there's a connection from this website to this Google Plus or to this Facebook or to this Twitter saying, okay, this information correlates with this social network profile.
Yeah, and not only the correlation there, but it also I've used it for clients because they want a very specific image that comes up when you share the link on Facebook, but they don't want that image as part of the actual post. And,
Right.
and
That's
Yoast
a
gives you a
great
really
point.
good form to upload a specific image for Facebook, an image for Twitter, and I think it's now even an image for Google Plus shares. Is that in there yet? Did I see that?
Uh, I was just looking at it. I know the Facebook and I know the Twitter.
Yeah,
I think
I
Google
think
Plus is only the
I think it
URL.
is Google Plus, but I'm not sure. I might have seen that as an add-on or something.
Yeah, maybe, but no one's apparently using Google Plus anymore. So
Yeah, no one cares about it.
I've actually taken a step away from Google Plus since they kind of took away authorship,
Yeah.
and I thought that was a dumb move. Not saying anything bad about Google. They're always listening.
No, when was it? Early last week, I was on Google, and I forgot to mention this to you.
Uh-huh.
Your Google Plus posts still are authorship. Have your image there.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So any of your posts in Google Plus do the authorship with the your little image icon, but
But
that's it.
not, but not your post from your website blog or whatnot. And that's
Which
the part that I
I
didn't
think is
like.
a big mistake. And
Yeah.
next week we'll probably not be able to use Google Hangouts anymore, but
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. That kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But moving forward,
yeah.
talking about the analytics, the WordPress SEO by Yoast, it's great. But then there's also analytics by Yoast as well. It's a separate plugin. It's another free one, but it does the same thing where it actually, if you authorize it, it'll pull in your Google UA code profile and insert it into the head. You should always insert it into the header, never to the footer. Um, just
I ask Nate that every time I put it into a website. I'm like, yeah, does this go in the header or footer? Because right at the start of Google Analytics, it seemed like it changed every week, whether it was the header or the footer.
you know what though? I think you're right though. In the beginning, I think it might have been the footer, but I think they switched it to the head, and there's a reason for that. And one of the biggest ones is the load speed of a website. And if a site is taking so long to load, especially with these new websites with huge images, and they're hosted on say something like Bluehost or a GoDaddy, and they're doing these shared hosting, which is nothing wrong with them, depending on what your site requirements are. But when you do that, your analytics aren't being grabbed because people are looking at it and it's loading it. It's like that back in the day Yahoo, when you pull up a site and that image is.
Yep.
So that analytics code hasn't been brought up yet, and so that
Yeah.
by 10 minutes and that first picture's finally loading, you're like, I'm out of here. You're not
Yeah.
getting any traffic for it. So
And,
now,
and the other thing that came into play was Google Analytics. Their JavaScript code is now asynchronous loading.
hmm
So it cannot be loaded yet in the header, but the whole rest of the website loads if you don't know what the difference of asynchronous and synchronous is. Asynchronous, it doesn't matter what order it comes in, it loads when it's available. Synchronous, that's why most people say put all the JavaScript in the footer, and that's where the main issue comes into play. Is we're so ingrained to put JavaScript in the footer, but Google Analytics goes in the header, even though it's a script.
right,
And that's because if you can't reach out to your CDN for your JavaScript, or a JavaScript file takes 30 seconds to load, the rest of your website loads in a synchronous form, and then hits that JavaScript, and then the rest of the stuff renders. So Google switching that to asynchronous really did make a big difference of being able to put it in the header too.
no, that's a great point. I mean, one that I think that really gets overlooked because people are like, just like what you said, I'd rather, it's a script. You need to put it in the footer because, my page speed. I'm like, no, you're missing the point here. That's not how it works. Google's kind of, they're a little bit smarter than, Joe Smo plugin carousel developer. They know that this stuff will be running and their stuff will come up. So don't worry about it. Put it in the header and leave it alone. Um, but
So
yeah,
what about actually getting your analytics? After we're using Yoast to put it onto the site, but that doesn't do us any good if we can't see what that.
and I think you and I might have a difference of opinion here. I hate having analytics dashboards in the back of my WordPress site. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Excuse me. It's just something about it. Because I don't think it gives me the accurate data, and B, I think it actually might slow the site down. Of course, I think that's just my personal opinion, depending on how the site's developed.
Right. I mean, I use it's analytics dashboard for WP.
Right. Yeah.
What it's called. And I mean, it's got options to be able to put widgets in on your front page to see your analytics. Why you would do that, I don't know. I only use it to see the number of visits because I like having everything in one place. I don't like logging into my website to do the updates, and maybe I need to re-tag some things.
Hmm.
Well, are the tags working that I have there, or well, hang on a second. Let me go log into Google Analytics. Let me get into there, find the site, find the information I need. Where in my dashboard, it's already there for me.
Okay. Now, since you use it, let me ask you this though. Since analytics have improved over the years, and especially recently, do they actually show like demographics and then get into the specifics, male, female, uh, what the user, the flow of it, or is it just how many people are hitting the site?
The one I use, it's they may have updated it since I've updated because I'm a little behind on my updates. Shh, don't tell anyone. Um, the the version I have, I believe it only does visits and it also does technology and
Okay.
country or the geolocation.
Right.
I don't think it does any of that extra demographics that are really nice to have, which we can talk about for hours, I'm sure.
Well, I know I can from a
Yeah.
marketing standpoint, and that's the biggest reason that I don't like having it something in my back end of my website because there's so much more data.
Oh, and
Uh,
it's true. Very true. There is much more data, and when I need that data, I log into Google Analytics. But if I'm just wanting a high-end overview of how my site's doing, do I need to tweak some more posts? Do I need to make more posts? I think the last post I made was 3 months ago. Um,
Sorry.
sorry, that was right at a drink when I.
I can't I can't laugh because I was actually looking at my post today. I'm like, "God, I am so far behind."
Yeah.
But then I started googling some of the search terms for some of my posts, and I'm actually ranking pretty high.
Yeah.
So
I
that's
mean, seeing that overall high-level stat is really nice for me. So when I need to get digging deeper, yeah, that's when I go into Google Analytics, and that's when I have more time to go into Google Analytics and start data mining essentially all that data they have for me.
right. And I think a lot of people do the same thing, and there's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, if you're a business, you spend all this money, or even if you're not a business, you spend all this time developing the site. Um, you need to spend a little bit more extra time getting into analytics, setting up custom email alerts. So if there is a change in traffic, say a 10% change in traffic, shoot you an email immediately. Every week, send you a weekly list of where people are coming from, the landing page, the exit pages, the bounce rates, and that way, yes, you can still log into your the back end of the website, but now it's coming to your email. You can look at it 5 seconds. Okay, you know, I'm, I'm writing enough posts. I'm hitting the right key search terms. I'm hitting my demographic. I'm good. And just by taking a half hour, 45 minutes of doing that and setting up the email alerts, boom, you don't have to worry about it anymore.
Right, right.
But unfortunately, a lot of people, including myself, depending on the project, well, we skip over that. But it's really something that should not be overlooked.
Honestly, I just in the last probably 3 4 weeks is the first time I realized that I could set up a custom report in Google Analytics and email it out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I had no idea that it could do that. The project came to me and they basically said, "Hey, we need a weekly analytics report."
Yeah.
I was going through my mind like, "Oh man, I'm gonna have to go through the Google Analytics API. That sucks. It's gonna take weeks to do." So I started digging around and I'm like, "Oh, hey, I'm done."
See, it's not that difficult once you start getting into it, but you do have to get into it. You have to take your time and you create a custom dashboard within the analytics, and then say, you know what, I want this to be, every day, every week, every month, every 6 months, every year, and that's it. But the only thing is, it only goes for 6 months at a time. So every 6 months, you do the same thing. You say, oh, okay, I want to redo these emails, alerts. The one thing I'm kind of waiting for kind of Google Analytics to incorporate is to adding your own logo. So if it's for that website. Now there are some websites that kind of do this for you, such as like Moz. We use it at work, and when we're monitoring sites for custom keywords, key phrases, traffic, are we getting the links that we're going for? So every, bi-weekly we're sending out emails to the staff and then to the client, and it has our logo. It has all the key information. It has the pie charts that Google Analytics creates for you. So I mean, it's good. But it would be really cool if Google actually came out with that and just said, just plug in your logo, because everybody knows it's Google Analytics. It's not like some third party that's doing it for you.
Right. One thing I did notice, and maybe it's just because I just found out about this, but the emails that are sent, you can only attach one report. You have to you can attach multiple ones, but you have to go basically set up another email and attach that other report to the same email you're sending. Is there not a way to generate like a multi-page setup?
Well, it kind of depends on the data that you want. I mean, you can create like a custom dashboard and incorporate, the demographics, all the stuff, the funnels, landing pages, bounce rates, all the stuff, and then just have that emailed out every week. And in that, it's just bits and pieces. But if you're looking for, like, you want to show the actual goals of, say, the said website, like, are people going through the e-commerce? Are they exiting before they actually check out? If so, we're at a process. There's all that data in there. So it's like they can't really kind of put that into a dashboard along with everything else. So unfortunately, they can't do everything yet.
Yeah, it's just, they allow you to do these tabs in the custom dashboard, tabs for different sets of data, but you have to email each one of those tabs separately. It'd be nice if, they just made one big long PDF that had all of those tabs.
I know.
But instead, now I'm sending an email with, I think, 8 different PDFs attached to it. And the first one that got sent out was like, I started getting phone calls. It's like, well, didn't you change this, fix it to send out all the data? And I'm like, yeah, look at the other attachments. Like they just didn't realize that there were multiple attachments because, stuff like that you don't typically think. There's going to be 8 different things I have to look at.
Mm-hmm.
So it was fully reasonable that what they were saying. And as soon as I was like, there's check it out, keep scrolling down, there's more attachments. They were like, oh yeah, okay, this is all the data that we asked for. So
yeah, I don't know. I mean, analytics has come a long way from just basic users, locations.
The footer page counter.
Right, exactly. So I mean, I think we're gonna get there. So I mean, I see a lot of cool things. One of the coolest things is, at least for my personal use, is when we launch a site and there's been enough, there's good publicity behind it. We build up to this and we launch it, hopefully with no hiccups, knock on wood. Looking at the actual real-time analytics, because it'll show how many people are currently on it, desktop, mobile, location, what page they're on, stuff
Yep.
like that. I love that stuff because you can actually track immediately how successful a campaign, some type of campaign is going. And to me, that you can't. That data is priceless.
Yeah. I know it takes, or at least it used to, took a day or two before those real-time analytics started coming in.
Right.
Um, what about if you set up a new campaign? Is that still a delay?
Well,
Or
it
when
kind of
that
depends on
real-time analytics comes in, is it?
what I would highly suggest. If it's a new site, you have some type of landing page, a coming soon, if you will, and then you install the Google Analytics that you're going to use, and so it's already running. And then a week later, when you're ready to launch it, boom, it's hitting, so that real time is coming in.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
But yeah, but if it's there's been like it's a new domain, there's nothing on it, and you're just pushing out the site, yeah, it's going to take 24 hours usually for the analytics to kick in. So there has to be some type of forethought to how much information you want to get immediately
Yeah.
as soon as the site is launched.
So,
But it is what it is.
yeah.
Another thing that people really should probably look into is talking about analytics is looking into the goals. And I talked about this a little bit in Columbus was, everybody has a website for some type of purpose. We have our blogs just to give out content, give out information, stuff that we know, we learn, and we want to kind of pass it on. But I mean, we build clients' websites that are selling things or displaying content that people would need to download or read for 20 minutes or go to this page so they can download an app from the Apple Store or whatever. And so if people aren't tracking it correctly in their Google Analytics goals, then there's no way that they can actually understand how well or how successful their website is doing. And I think like the example I used in Columbus, and I'll be probably using it in Hanover, is basically someone fills out a quote form. So all you do is, they go to this page, they fill it out, they hit submit, it redirects them to a thank you page. And the thank you page is not being crawled, it's not in the sitemap, it's not being indexed at all. It's only found if people actually click on this request a quote. And so just by that little thing, it's showing me how people are actually coming through the funnel, going through the data, and if the goals are set up correctly, I can track it and improve it. Because now I can do split A/B testing and say, okay, there are plugins for this, but I can do some script where it's like, okay, for 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I want to run this widget, and then Tuesday and Thursday, I want to do this, really crazy one. Which one gets the most traffic? Or which one gets the most signups? And then I can do that within my analytics, and I can set up emails so it'll spit out each time. And stuff like that just fascinates me because a lot of people on a lower level don't use that or utilize it.
Right. It kind of goes along with the custom events. You ever do any kind of that stuff versus just like custom campaigns? I had a project come in where we wanted to track how many times the play button is hit or something.
Yeah.
And the only way to do that really is a custom event.
Right. Yeah, and all that is you're creating a campaign. You're putting in the name of the campaign. If a user clicks on this, and you wrap that around a button or some type of action or something, and you put it in. And with WordPress, it's so much easier to kind of implement that better. So to me, it's not that difficult if all the information is given up front.
Right.
So like you said, page views, or I'm sorry, how many people are actually clicking play. It'll kind of depend on, yes, you can create that, but is it a YouTube video? Is it a Vimeo? Is it on their server?
Right.
So it's
I mean, it's so robust what you can do with Google Analytics, just with those custom events, custom campaigns. You can click track with a piece of JavaScript. I've seen this done where they're using it to track where people click on a page.
oh
It's crazy what can be done with it.
yeah. I mean, if a client or a business owner or anybody goes, I wonder if I want to create this website that does the X, Y, and Z, but I really want to see what users do when they get to A, B, C. I'm like,
Right.
yeah, we can do that. It's not, the technology is there, and it's free. That's the thing. It's free. It's not like, say, Adobe's Omniture, which you actually have to pay for. This is Google
Yeah. I
Analytics.
mean,
It's free data.
phew,
Yeah,
Omniture is a whole nother beast.
and what I've seen with Omniture, it correlates with Google Analytics. I mean, it's the same thing to me. To
It's
me,
the exact same thing.
and I'm not taking anything away from it, but I'm a Google fanboy, and I will be. I will admit it for the most part. But
I had to learn Omniture. And there's so many quirks with it that it took me a good month before I even got my head wrapped around it to figure out what was going on.
right,
You have to declare all these variables. I think there was a list of 40 variables I had to declare. And if one of those was wrong, analytics wasn't working.
really,
They got nothing.
holy crap,
Yeah. So I mean, I think Omniture is way over engineered.
that's Adobe. What else is new?
Yeah.
I I don't. I don't even know the price on that anymore. I stopped watching it probably about 2 or 3 years ago, but yeah,
So I'm sure it's
it's
so.
outrageous.
We're both very big Google people. We use everything Google. I use Gmail. I use Google Apps for all my businesses I work with. We're probably going to be switching to Google Apps at work. I mean, I use it for everything. If Google ever decides to, just lock things out, I'm probably going to roll up in a corner under a blanket and cry for a month.
Oh, only for a month? I'll be in there for a year, man. I will be so devastated.
Yeah. I mean,
'Cause
my phone is Google.
right.
It's
Yeah.
Google Voice. So, but I mean, there's other companies out there that do this analytics. We talked about Omniture, but one of the ones that I've seen kind of escaping out of the dark area of the web and just kind of taken off is Track.io. I don't know if you've ever heard of them,
It's not ringing any bells.
but Track.io is it's not necessarily site analytics. It's more customer analytics and conversion tracking.
Ah,
But
okay.
it is a really, really nice tool. I've not had a good use to use it yet in production, but I've gotten to play with it. I got to play with it during the beta. Um, I mean, you can set, you know, you have a user sign up for your
Mm-hmm.
website. From that point on, you can set in the footer a script that tracks basically everything they do. So if they purchase something,
Oh.
log out, if they sign up for a newsletter, if they close their account or cancel a subscription or something, and it gives you a nice little dashboard to track all that.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of sounds a little Big Brother-ish, I guess, but for the business owner, it's an amazing tool to have that kind of analytics running on a user of your site.
Oh, definitely. But I think you really kind of hit it where the user has to sign up.
Yes,
So I think that in itself can be
but
tough.
it also does give you the ability to track guests. So
Okay.
it does it by session. So it'll be like, at least during the beta, it was like guest 108, guest 109. And during that session, it tracked kind of their process, their funnel that they followed, where you lost them at, things like that before they actually signed up.
Okay. And it looks
So
like it's centered all around e-commerce, though, too.
it's centered a lot around e-com, but you're able to use it for other aspects of it.
Hmm.
Um, but I mean, it did come out for e-com. It's if you have an e-com site, I would highly suggest looking into this.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look half bad, and that's Track, and that's TRAK.io.
Right, right.
But yeah, I mean, it looks like the dashboards just from the front, just look from my, and it looks very similar to say what like Moz.com kind of puts together for just basic analytics. But yeah, yeah, with the user being signed in, and like you said, you touched on the Big Brother. I mean, that's what Google Analytics is doing anyway. I mean,
It really is, whether you know it or not. I mean, you're always being tracked. Just look at the ads on Facebook that come in. You
yeah,
know, I hate the fact that I was working on client websites because for that month and a half, 2 months that I'm working on the site, I get nothing but ads for them.
right, yeah,
And I mean, it kind of scares me that they can do that with ads and just kind of under the radar.
hmm
But it's also kind of cool.
it really is. The annoying part is when you search for a product or a service, and you're like, oh, okay, that's a great one. I'm gonna, maybe I don't need it right now, but in a couple of months, I'm gonna get that item or that service, and then for the next 3 months, though, you're seeing it non-stop, that same product or service. And after a while, to me, it just gets so annoying. And it's just, I know they're watching. I know that they see, they got my cookies. Good God, man, just stop. I got it. I know what you're doing. From a
Yeah.
marketing standpoint, you're good. But after a week, just stop.
Yep.
Anyway, let's get out of analytics real quick.
All
Well,
right.
Google Analytics. Let's talk about Google Webmaster Tools.
Very, very important. I
Uh, People, I know clients, they just, oh, I just want to know, here's my code, here's my account, plug us in, and that's it. I'm like, well, we created a sitemap XML file for you with WordPress, a new site that we created. Where's your Webmaster Tools? I don't know what that is. Well, don't you want to know about your search queries, if there's any 404 errors, but more importantly, who's linking to you and how they're linking to you? And people just, it's like right over the head, and it's just like they don't think about it.
That's true. It's such. I mean, if it's a new client, as soon as I register a domain for them, that's the first thing I do. I go to Webmaster Tools, I register the domain for them, I take care of it. If I'm doing the domain registration, client
Okay.
comes to me with the domain, the first thing that comes out of my mouth is go to Webmaster Tools, register that domain with them.
Right. And it's not just setting that up, but it's bridging the gap between Google Analytics because they're over here, they're the nice and fun and giving you the pie charts and the demographics, and Webmaster Tools is over on this end going, well, I got the real cool data on your search queries, who's linking to your site, are there any 404s on your site, and is your sitemap being slow, is it being fast, what's going on? But if you don't have them linked together through Google Analytics, it really doesn't matter in the end.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Very true.
I mean, and so once we do a site, I'm, if they haven't already, I'm linking the accounts, I'm updating the sitemap XML, I'm submitting the home page and some top level pages um, to be crawled by Google Webmaster Tools. And now you can do it through desktop or even mobile, so that's cool. So there's a lot of options in there. Just from a geek side, it helps you improve your site ranking. if you're smart about it. The only bad side is, Google Analytics over there, it's giving you this nice pie charts and these graphs, but they're not giving you, in Webmaster Tools, they're giving you great information, but you can't set up emails. You can't set up alerts. And so that's one of the downsides to it.
Right.
Unless there's some type of site message from Google. That's the only way you're going to know if something's going on. So you have to take some type of action to look into it.
Right. So.
And before you could actually look at schema through that too.
Yeah, true. Yeah. It's a nice high-level look at analytics.
It really is. And, when Google kind of took away the search queries that not provided through Google Analytics, people freak out. They're like, oh, I'm paying all this money for, this content creator, to write this great content for these specific keywords that we need to rank for, but how do I know we're ranking for them? If I can't see it, if it doesn't show not provided,
right.
just go to Webmaster Tools and do a search. It's there. Or it's in analytics. You just got to set up custom reports for it. But it's just those little things. You're just like, you have to dig a little bit deeper. You can't just leave it at the top. You actually have to take some action and spend a little bit of time or money and get someone like myself or you and dig through that and create these reports for them. I say,
or WPSEO experts.
I don't think that's live yet. I don't know if I want to push that out.
Keep an eye out for it.
Soon-ish.
Yeah. So something else in the news coming up. Ann Arbor.
Yes.
You want to chat about that?
Sure. Actually, WordCamp Europe just ended tonight or yesterday.
That's right.
I don't know. They're 12 hours ahead. No, 8 hours ahead. Anyway, so they wrapped up, and the next WordCamp is actually in Ann Arbor, which is it's one day. They actually sold out of tickets, which was really good because this is actually their first one. Am I correct on that?
That is, as far as I know, it's their first.
Okay. And looking at the speaker lineup, not to say, Brian, you're speaking on a panel, which
I am.
Which sucks because you're speaking at the same time that I'm speaking at the end of the day.
It does suck.
But it's going to be cool. The only bad part, I think it's on Michigan's campus.
Oh.
And both of us being from Dayton, Ohio.
Yeah, I don't know. We're going to be allowed on campus?
Hey, I'm surprised they even accepted my submission knowing my location. I think they were hesitant, and that's why I was kind of picked towards the end. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. There's some great speakers. The organizers are some great names that I can't think of right now. The only one that pops up is Kyle's. And I can't. Oh, it's going to drive me nuts now.
Kyle of, what is it, Real Big Media?
Real Big Marketing?
Real Big Marketing. I always get that wrong. Sorry, Kyle. RealBigMarketing.com.
Yeah.
Also on another podcast.
Oh yeah, they do. He's part of that WP Roundtable.
Right.
And that's what, every Monday?
Every Monday at 8 o'clock Eastern?
Yeah, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I was a part of it for a little bit, but had to bow out, and so now yeah. So we do this, every other week, and just kind of cover a specific topic and go from there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Ann Arbor. Like I said, great speakers lined up. It's a wide range. I don't know. I think it's going to be a good time.
Yeah, I think it will be. Well, I'm sure in a couple weeks we'll report on it and let you guys know how it is.
Exactly.
So, any teasers on some big news for us? You want to give anything?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
All right. You
Nope.
guys are gonna have to wait.
I'm gonna leave that. In 2 weeks, maybe.
All right.
I might give it a little bit, but right now, no.
All right.
No.
Little teaser. I'll give
Okay.
one.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll give one. It's really cool.
Okay, I'll give one as well. March 2015. You're not ready.
All right.
I'm gonna leave it at that.
All right. So I think we'll wrap up then. This is another episode of WP Decoded. We'll see you guys in a couple weeks.
All right. See ya.